Welcome to Indonesia, Prof. When did you arrive in Indonesia?
I arrived just last Monday.
How was your trip?
Well, it's not so far from Kuala Lumpur, so it's only 2 hours by air, so it was not very tiring. And I was very much welcomed by you, who received me on the airport and very comfortably drove me to my hotel. Thank you very much.
Prof, I heard you come here to Indonesia to give lectures on history of Islamic science.
Yes, I was invited by INSIST to give a series of lectures on Islamic science. And they invited me to give 4 days of lectures. And so I plan to give these lectures this week and next week another two lectures.
So you must be specialized in Islamic science, I suppose.
Yeah, I have indeed done some research in the field of Islamic science, and then I specialized in the field of the history of Islamic science, especially Ibn Bajjah. So I studied the works of Ibn Bajjah, who is then one of the Islamic scientists, and I published a few books about this. So I did some research in manuscripts, and I edited manuscripts, and I published a book about this. And that's why people know about me and my research, and so they decided to invite me to give some lectures here.
Could you tell us, Prof, what is interesting about Ibn Bajjah or his contribution in Islamic science?
Yeah, Ibn Bajjah, his main contribution is in fact that he studied further the laws of motion, you could say, because Aristotle, he started already to think about how motion occurs and what are the laws governing the motion of a body. But Ibn Bajjah also read about this, but he didn't agree. He found in fact that Aristotle's rules about motion were not in agreement with what you daily see, not in agreement with the daily life. So he tried to find another explanation. So he formulated other rules for the motion of a body. And that is one of the things from which Ibn Bajjah became famous.
Ibn Bajjah was a scientist who lived in Spain, right?
Yeah, he originated in Spain, and I think he died in Morocco. He lived in Spain and Morocco during the time of the Almohad Empire. So that is the western part of Islamic Empire.
He lived before Galileo.
Yeah, he lived way before Galileo, because that is a few centuries apart. So Galileo lived 4 centuries later.
How would you compare the contribution of Ibn Bajjah in physics, especially, to Galileo in the history of science in general?
Yeah, that is a subject of discussion. You can think about this. Some people they say that Ibn Bajjah was in fact a precursor of Galileo, and that what Galileo found out about motion was already found in some way by Ibn Bajjah before. And of course, I think it's well known that that Galileo formulated at that time the laws of motion in a way which we still agree with this. I mean, he found the correct laws of motion. But apparently Ibn Bajjah also was thinking in the same sense, that he developed also the laws of motion in that sense.
We heard that you have spent 9 years teaching at Lettinck, teaching as a professor of history and philosophy of Islamic science. What do you think the use of knowing history?
Yeah, it's true that if people ask about history, then most people, they will answer, yeah, well, I'm not interested, or I don't want to know about history. And in my experience, indeed, many people, or most people, they are not really interested in the history of, for instance, history of science. And I think indeed, you can be a scientist and you can do your daily job in your laboratory or whatever, yeah, without knowing the history. So, and that's what most people do. But I think if you know also the history of the thing you are daily engaged in, then you get a deeper understanding of what you're already doing. And of course, for instance, a scientist, he's doing his daily job, but I think it's good for him to know that what he's doing is not the final truth. I mean, what he's trying to find is, if he finds a result, he can be aware that this result is just the result of his research, but it can be, this result is never sure or never certain, can be refuted by later research. And I think that's when you study the history of science, of course you become aware of this very clearly.
You are not a Muslim by religion, and yet you show a deep interest in Islamic science history, and also in the study of Arabic civilizations. Why is that, if we may know?
Yeah, that was in fact because of my studies in Arabic, because I started to study Arabic language and Arabic culture and Arabic also including Islamic religion. So anything connected with Arabic civilization. So I studied this, and I found study of Arabic very interesting. It's a nice language to study and very satisfactory to learn this. And on the other hand, I did some research in physics also before I studied Arabic. So I had also an interest in scientific things. And so then it was by chance that I could combine in this way the study of science and the study of Arabic civilization. And so that's why I became interested in Arabic civilization and Islamic civilization and the history of Islamic science. Because I had an interest in science, and I was very happy to have studied Arabic. And the Islamic civilization, I got an interest in this, if it also by chance, I mean, because I traveled, one time I traveled to North Africa, I traveled to Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, and at that time I found it quite, it appealed rather to me. And I didn't travel to China, but maybe if I traveled to China, I had become interested in Chinese science, but I happened to travel to Arabic countries. And so I found the culture and the way of life there. At that time, I found it quite appealing to me. So then I started to study Arabic.
I have just two more questions, Prof. What is your advice to students who want to study or specialize in Islamic science?
I would say there is a lot of work to do if you want to study the history of Islamic science. There are many manuscripts in many libraries all over the world which are there and which have not been studied before, and nobody knows what is the content of these manuscripts. So I think it's important and interesting that more people know, or let's say the world knows about this, what is the content of these manuscripts. And I think there's still many new things to discover. So the advice is for students in Islamic science that they discover new manuscripts and try to edit this and then make a study of the content and then maybe compare it with other works which are already known, and maybe they can find new things, they can find new facts from history.
Now the last questions. Do you think it is enough for students or scholars who want to study Islamic science if they have studied Arabic, or if they know only Arabic, or if they have studied Arabic, classical Arabic, I mean? Or do they need this extra or more languages?
I think if you really want to study deeply into the history of Islamic science, then English, of course, that is not enough. So then you need, of course, what I said before, you need Arabic, of course. But maybe if you really want to know the connection of Islamic science with earlier science, or maybe with later developments, then also you need to know Greek language, for instance, and you need to know the Latin language. And then other languages, yeah, if you have still time to study more languages than what I mentioned already, so then French or German, yeah, can also be useful, because many scholarly works about history of Islamic science, they are written written in German and in French language. And let's say the classical books about history of, of history of Arabic civilization in general, that is much in German and much also in French. Of course, English also, but and nowadays most publications about this subject are in English indeed. But if you want to know more older publications, and of course if you want to know all the literature about the subject, yeah, you need to know also the older publications, and then yeah, you better read them in English, in German or in French.
Okay, Prof. Thank you for your time.